Hi friends, I hope you're doing well. So all of you all have reached a very important point in your career जहाँ आपका 10th स्टैंड एग्जाम हो चुका है. यू all awaiting board exam results और अब टाइम आ चुका है where you need to take a decision regarding what your career year after is going to look like, right? You'll have to make a very informed choice of whether you want to study sciences, whether you want to do a commerce career, or whether you want to go the arts career. And whichever career option, whichever career stream you opt for, what are the various opportunities available, and what is it that you could make of yourself. So it's a very very important decision, and it lot depends on not just the opportunities in the world, but it also depends on your aptitude, your liking, and what is best suitable for you, right? So I always know that every summer vacation you have students and their parents, and they sit for breakfast, lunch and dinner just discussing what career is going to be the right one for you, right? And it is so important that at this point in time you do these discussions on your dining table, speak to your friends, speak to your colleagues, speak to seniors, speak to family members who are studying or who've just passed out. And once you have all the research on your hand, it's very important that you take an informed decision. So, like every year at Pinnacle Education, we always come up with a career guidance boot camp because we want to help students by giving them the relevant information that they need so that they can make an informed choice. So today I'm going to be taking you through a very interesting workshop of the various careers available in commerce. So what is the world of commerce like? What subjects do you study? What kind of jobs can you undertake? What kind of career options do you have, and how you sort of make your path in this journey. So the next 15-20 minutes, stay tuned till the very end. You're going to get a lot of information your way that's going to give you everything that's there in the world of commerce. Thank you. All right, students. So, before I begin, let me just very quickly introduce Pinnacle Education to you. So, at Pinnacle Education, we have been training so many students for the last 22 years now, and we are a one-stop hub when it comes to commerce careers. We start training students in class 9 and 10 if you have commerce as a subject, and of course, we train extensively in class 11 and 12, and then we train students for several professional exams such as CA, ACCA, International CFA, CPA, and so on. So once a student starts their journey with us, it's a very long one, right till you get your first job. So on that note, let me ask a couple of questions to you. I'd like to test your curiosity. I'd like to check if you are somebody, who's interested in some of the questions that I'm going to ask you now. Okay? All right. So, Russia and Ukraine start a war. Everybody has been reading about it in the news. And as the war happened, so many things started to change in the world around us, right? And this war has started to affect you and me extensively, right? From, you go to a petrol pump and you see the prices of petrol and diesel hike up. You go to the market and you see the price of fruits and vegetables and so many other items hike up. You see your parents trade in stock markets and you see on a daily basis the stock prices are either falling or rising. There's a lot of volatility. So one war, and it starts affecting the world at large, the country, the city, and finally it start affecting a consumer like you and me. Why does that happen? Is that something? Are those questions arising in your mind? Another question that I want to ask you. You've all heard of Facebook and Instagram. You've all heard of Mark Zuckerberg. And how do you think somebody like Mark Zuckerberg made a $1 billion company right from scratch? As a first generation entrepreneur, how would he have thought of making, a social media company, to such a big size, such a big community around the world? How does he get those $1 billion valuations? Okay, food for thought. Another question for you. Everybody has used Amazon at some or the other point in their lives, right, to order something. Now, Amazon has got this terrific, logistics network. Wherever you are in the world, They will ship and deliver it to you. How do you think they manage such a humongous logistics network in almost all the parts of the world? Another question for you. Now that y'all are school students, maybe some of y'all have even used Byju's. If not, y'all have all heard of Byju's, right? Now, recently in the news, we heard Byju's is sponsoring, it's an official sponsor for FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Why do you think a company like Byju's would want to sponsor a FIFA World Cup? What kind of coverage would it be getting? Why do you think they would have thought of doing it? Okay. Another example. You've heard of Mini Cooper? Yeah, you've heard of this very interesting car being launched in India recently. It's the first electric vehicle, right? Now, how do you think launched in India? Now, how do you think Mini Cooper would have priced its model? Why do you think it arrived at that selling price at which it's selling these models in India? How do you think it got to that? Another question. Yeah. The stock markets recently have been so choppy, they've been so volatile, right? Why do you think stock prices rise and fall? And in this rise and fall, how do you think investors make the money? Another one, yeah, the last question. You've all heard of Elon Musk. He's the founder of Tesla and SpaceX. He's acquired a social platform, Twitter, for approximately $44 billion. dollars. Okay, try to convert $44 billion on your calculators in Indian rupees, right? It's a huge, huge, huge sum. How do you think companies are valued? Where do they get these billion-dollar values? Kaise, how is this arrived at? You know, now these are, some of the things that have been recently appearing in the news, and I've just picked up some very recent examples. There's so much of news all over, and if you start thinking about each of these, they're very, very interesting subjects in themselves. Okay, now if you are somebody who gets excited to hear, to understand why each of these happen the way they do, you know, then let me tell you that you have a commerce bent of mind, you have a commerce aptitude, you have a liking for commerce because this is exactly what you study in the world of commerce. So, if you talk about the various subjects that you study in commerce, when I spoke about probably um, the war between Russia and Ukraine and how it affects you and me. I'm talking about economics. If I talk about how Mark Zuckerberg built a company from scratch, I'm talking about business management. You know, if I talk about how Elon Musk has acquired Twitter for $44 billion, the valuation, I'm talking about investment banking, I'm talking about finance, right? If I talk about why Byju's has decided to sponsor, the FIFA, it's all about branding and advertising, right? And marketing strategies. Okay. If I talk about why stock markets fall, rise and fall, and how investors make the money, I'm referring to a study in investments. I'm referring to a study in capital markets, right? And behind all of this that I discuss, there's numbers, there's business acumen, there's business mathematics, there's business statistics. And those are exactly the subjects that you see on your screen. So when you decide to study commerce, you study how businesses are built from scratch. You study how businesses are scaled up. You study how money is managed in these businesses, which is finance. You study how there are so many laws and regulations in every country that govern a business. So you study law. How companies use such innovative channels to advertise and market these days, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Google, these are your social, whether it's YouTube, whether it's, a billboard that you see, as you go outside. So whether it's print media, so how do companies these days, market themselves, build their brands? That's advertising and marketing. Then you study about taxes. As you make the money, you need to pay taxes to the government. How are these taxes calculated, right? How do you do tax planning? Or you pay GST. When you buy something, all of you all have seen a bill, you pay GST. What's this goods and service tax? How does it work? So taxation, very, very important. And then finally, as a business starts to do all of this, it needs to maintain record, it needs to maintain accounts, it needs to calculate its profitability. You study all of that in accounting, right? And the way the world works, the various events that happen in the world affect consumers like you and me, affect businesses. That's economics. And behind all of this, like I said, there are numbers that have to make sense, right? And that's basic understanding of business mathematics and statistics. Then you learn a lot about the various ways in which once you've made money, how do you invest the money? You put it in stock markets, you put it in gold, you put it in real estate. These days, you want to buy cryptocurrencies, which is the most 21st century form of investment. Okay, so what are the various venues in which you can invest the money and grow your wealth? You study it in a subject called investments. So this is what you will learn in the world of commerce. Okay, this is exactly what commerce is all about. Now, how do you study these subjects? What is a path in commerce? Let me take you through that. So, as you see on your screen, students, you are here. This is your 10th standard, and you all have just cleared your exams, awaiting board results. You will enter class 11th and 12th, which is typically called junior college. And once you do your junior college, your life will typically be split into two parts. Number one, you will have to pursue a graduation course, which is typically your 13th, 14th, and 15th, also called first year of graduation, second year of graduation, and third year of graduation. So after class 12, 3 years of graduation, where you will decide to do a BCom or BCom specialized in, various specialities as you see on the screen. And very quickly, I'm going to take up each of these in a little while. Or you could pursue law, okay, and then you'll also have to pursue alongside your graduation some professional course which is highly recommended, whether it's CA, whether it's ACCA, whether it's CS, whether it's CMA, you have MBA, you have CFA, you have a lot of things that you could do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak a little about each of these to give you idea, to give you perspective, of the various options that are available in your journey. All right. So let me now, for the moment in this presentation, focus on graduation courses and professional courses that you could take up. Okay. So let's get to graduation courses. Now, before I talk about graduation courses, let me take a pause and explain to you that after your 10th standard, when you do 11th and 12th standard, 11th and 12th standard typically is, it takes up most of the time in the college that you will go to. Morning typically you will undertake some coaching. After that, most colleges in 11th and 12th start at about 11:30 to 12:30. College goes on till 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. Then after that, in the evenings, you'll be spending time maybe on self-study or coaching. Sometimes you may pursue certain hobbies. So it's going to be quite a full day, typically in your class 11 and 12. Thereafter, when you take up graduation, graduation is typically in the mornings. Most graduation programs will start at about 7, 7:30 in the morning in your colleges. They will get over by 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock. Okay. And then there is the whole day which is free, where most commerce students will want to pursue some professional course alongside to make your graduation time worthwhile. So first I will discuss what are the graduation choices that you have. Okay. The most popular choice in commerce is a BCom, Bachelor's degree in commerce. Of course, you start this after your 12th standard. It's divided into 3 years. There are six semesters. Each year is 2 semesters. So first year will be 2 semesters, second year will be two, third year will be two. That's the way you do 6 semesters. And typically in any BCom that you do, you will study accounting, finance, economics, taxes, law. So you study a mix of all of these subjects. Okay. And once you qualify as a BCom, typically the kind of jobs available are a financial accountant, cost accountant, maybe a tax consultant. Okay. But as you all know, BCom will not be enough, and you will have to pursue some professional course along with BCom to make this worthwhile. What it is, I'll get to it in a while. Okay. We'll first complete the degrees. So first is BCom. This is plain vanilla BCom. Now, the next option that you have is BCom specialized in financial markets. Now, before this, let me take a pause and explain to you what the University of Mumbai recently did is, in the earlier days, there was only one BCom. Okay. Now, compare that to a vanilla ice cream. Okay. What the University of Mumbai did is it launched various flavors in BCom with different specializations. So you could say it's a strawberry ice cream, it's a butterscotch ice cream, it's a chocolate ice cream. There are various flavors. At the end of the day, all of them are a BCom. It's a bachelor's degree of 3 years, but with different flavors, with different specializations. And most colleges in Bombay today have these options available. So the second one is a BCom in financial markets. Now, it's again a 10 plus 2, it's after 12th standard, spread over 3 years, 6 semesters. So the format remains the same. It's just that the subjects you study in this have a lot more specialization towards financial markets, capital markets, stock markets. So I asked you, how do stock markets work? Why do prices of stocks fall and rise, right? What's the reason behind them? How do investors sort of make the money? How do you do risk? How do you manage these risks? So all of that you will learn the basics of that in BCom in financial markets. If somebody is very enthusiastic and very interested in stock markets, this could be a good one to do. All right. Then there is something called as very popularly BCom specialized in accounting and finance. The students at the colleges popularly call it BAF. So this is again a BCom, again done after 12 standards, spread over 3 years, has 6 semesters, but the specialization is accounting and finance, which means there is more emphasis on finance and accounting subjects compared to a regular BCom. Okay, and of course, after having done BAF, you can play various roles like of a financial consultant, of an accountant, of a financial accountant, of a management accountant, various simple jobs available. Now, there is no doubt that to get, to qualify in BAF or to get PFM, you need slightly higher percentages in 12th standard, which means BCom is easily available. But if you want to get into a division where there are BAF students, or if you want to get into a division where there are PMS students or a BFM batch, these specialized BComs, you will need slightly higher percentages in 12th standard. So there is no doubt that the students who are studying these specialized BCom courses are a notch higher. They have slightly higher percentages, and that's why they've got this. Because most colleges have limited seats when it comes to specialized BCom. Okay. Then the university has introduced something called as BBI, BCom specialized in banking and insurance. Now again, this is a 10 plus 2 program spread over 6 semesters. Here they will teach you the basics of banking, the basics of insurance, and certainly having done a BBI, you can grab some very basic jobs in banks and insurance companies. Okay. A very popular one is the next one is BMS, Bachelors of Management Studies. Now, again, this is after 12th standard, 3 year program spread across 6 semesters. Now, most colleges offer two streams of BMS. One is BMS specialized in marketing, and the other is BMS specialized in finance. Okay. Now, certain subjects, of course, in both the routes are common, but BMS specialized in marketing will have more subjects to do with advertising, more subjects to do with branding, more subjects to do with marketing. And BMS specialized in finance will have more emphasis on accounting, finance, costing. So certain common subjects, but with a specialization in marketing and finance. You opt for either of the two, whatever interests you. Okay. And in BMS, typically you study a lot about business management, how businesses are brought up. So, this is, if I may say, this is the younger brother of an MBA. When you do an MBA, you study Masters of Business Administration. BMS is Bachelor's Degree in Management Studies. So it's managing a business, but you get the fundamentals of it. Okay, and again, the kind of jobs you can grab after doing this is in various areas related to corporate finance, business management, marketing research, in the finance and accounting teams if you've done a BMS specialized in finance that way. Yeah. Now, most colleges in Bombay do offer BMS, and in your 12th standard, certainly you will need slightly higher percentages if you need to grab a seat in the BMS department. And then you have a bachelor's degree in mass media. Now, again, same structure, 10 plus 2 spread over 3 years and 6 semesters. Now, mass media, as the term suggests, you will learn everything to do with digital marketing, online marketing these days, the Googles and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the YouTubes of the world, right? So, digital marketing, branding, advertising, journalism, those are the kind of subjects that you study when you do a bachelor's of mass media. And having done that, you can grab several, basic jobs in advertising, digital marketing, ad firms, all of that, right? So these are some of the bachelor degree options available. Another one, which is becoming very popular these days, is BBA. Now, BBA again is similar to a BMS. Okay, BMS was Bachelor in Management Studies. This is Bachelor of Business Administration. This is a stepping stone to MBA. MBA is Masters of Business Administration, BBA is Bachelor of Business Administration. Now, there are a few colleges in Bombay that offer BBA, and there are various BBA routes. One is BBA specialized in marketing and finance, you have BBA specialized in advertising, you have BBA specialized in international business. So, depending on what is your liking, you go for it. Again, it's a 3-year program after 12 standards spread over 6 semesters. One of the most popular colleges in Bombay that does BBA very well is NMIMS. And for getting a seat in NMIMS, it's not just your 12 standard percentage. You will also have to appear for an entrance exam. Now, the other bachelor degrees I spoke about, BCom, BAF, BMS, BCom in insurance, BCom in capital markets, you don't need to appear for any entrance exams. It's all basis your 12 standard percentage. But for BBA, apart from your 12 standard percentage, you need to appear for an entrance exam, which is typically conducted by NMIMS. NMIMS has got an exam called NPAT. Okay, so it's like a entrance exam where they will test various skills. They'll test your English language, your vocabulary, some logical reasoning and mathematics, current affairs. So, it's a test that you'll have to prepare for. It's typically done after your 12th standard, and basis the results, you will then, basis your score, you'll be able to get admission in MIMS. So this is one of those popular ones happening in Bombay. Okay. Now, another option that students after 12th standard go for, which I must talk about, is law. Okay. Now, there are certain students who are very clear that they want to go the law route. Okay. They want to become a lawyer. And once you take that route is fairly different from all other streams in commerce. Now, to do an LLB, one option is that you do it after 12th standard. And when you do it after 12th standard, it's a 5-year course. It's not a 3-year course, it's a 5-year course. अब LLB कर रहे हो तो आपको कोई BCom etc नहीं करना है. This in itself is your 5-year LLB course. And if you do it after graduation, which means if you decide to do your BCom or one of the bachelor's degree, and then you decide to do your LLB, then it's a 3-year course. Okay, so you have those two choices, two options available. Either you do it after 12th standard, so then it's a 5-year course. And when you're doing this 5-year course, then you don't need to do any of the other bachelor degrees. This itself will be that degree. Okay. And if you decide that no, after 12th, I don't want to do it. Let's say you do a regular BCom or a BAF for 3 years, and then you decide I want to study law. Then after that, it's a 3-year program. Now, whether after 12th or whether after graduation, to get into a good law school, you need to crack some interesting entrance exams. Now, most of the national universities in India, which is typically your national law schools, they you need to appear for an entrance exam called CLAT. Okay, the Government Law College in Bombay has its own entrance exam called MHCET Law. Symbiosis in Pune has got its entrance exam called SET, right? So NM College has its own entrance exam. So various colleges have their own entrance exams. Most of these entrance exams will test certain skills. They will definitely test your mathematics, logical reasoning, current affairs, your English language and vocabulary. These are the skills that they will test. And yes, to crack these entrance exams, you'll have to prepare for them. So you'll have to, choose a prep provider who will prepare you for these entrance exams. You give this entrance exam, and basis your score, you will be able to get the right law school. So you have to, it's not a distance learning program. You'll have to actually go to the law school, wherever it is, stay there and study law for those many years. And of course, once you go the law route and you've done your law LLB, there are so many other specializations after that. It's an endless ocean, right? And then you go and be a lawyer. Okay, now most students prepare for their law entrance exams while they are in the 11th standard, because they typically appear for it, while they're in their 12th or after their 12th exam, depending on when it's happening. So through your 11th standard, you need to prepare for this, if you want to do an LLB. So that's with your law. All right. So these were the various options in commerce. So like I said, it's either a BCom or it's a BCom specialized in accounting and finance, capital markets, banking and insurance, BMS, which is Bachelor of Management Studies, or a BBA or a law. You pick up one of these 5 or 6 options, right? And which are the top colleges? ऐसे तो बहुत सारे colleges है बॉम्बे में, but some of the top colleges, include NM, Podar, Mitibai, HR, Jai Hind, KC, SIS College, Samaya College, Hinduja. Now, this is obviously in no order of preference. This is just a very random list. It's not that one college is better than the other college. No, this is just a random list of some of the top colleges in Bombay. There are many more, of course, but these are some of the most popular colleges that students typically sign up for. Again, I repeat, this is in no order of preference. Okay, it's just a random list of colleges. Moving ahead now, what are these professional courses? Okay. Now, as I told you, students, that whichever degree program you opt for, law hata dijiye ek baar, because law is a completely different program. And once you decide to do law, you will fully be focused and concentrated on being a lawyer. So, law hata dijiye. But if I talk about any of the other bachelor degrees, BCom or BCom specialized or BMS or BPA, see, at the end of the day, they are all part-time programs. Like I told you, most colleges would start in the mornings, finish by noon, and you have 3 years and a lot of time available on hand, which you need to utilize productively. Plus, when you exit college, when you finish your college, you need to have a credible job, right? Which opens up opportunities for you, which helps you earn well. And in order to do that, you will have to, it's highly recommended that you pursue some professional qualification alongside. So, after 12th, you'll actually be doing two things: doing a bachelor's degree and simultaneously spend time productively in pursuing some professional degree so that when you finish college, you graduate with not one but two degrees. That's the way an ideal commerce career should look like. So, what are the professional courses available in India? Some of the popular ones, let's talk about them. Now, first is chartered accountancy. Now, CA is one of the most, if I say, premium, prestigious professions, which has been around for the longest time now. Typically, students start preparing for CA while they are in their 12th standard. So, after you finish your 11th and your 12th standard begins, you start your preparation for CA because you appear for the first CA exam immediately after your 12th. Once you give your 12th board exam, typically in March, the CA exam happens in the month of May. So you appear for your first CA exam then, right? So the preparation of CA starts alongside 12. CA has got three levels. Level 1 is CA Foundation, level 2 is called CA Inter, and level 3 is called CA Final. You need about 5 years, 4.5 to 5 years to finish your CA. And of course, apart from giving exams, you need to do a total of 20 papers across the three levels. And apart from giving these 20 papers, it's mandatory to do 3 years of articleship. 3 years of articleship means you actually need to go and work under a chartered accountant and see how things are done practically. I think this is the most wonderful part about this qualification, right? And by the time you are, say, 21, 22 years of age, if everything goes well and you qualify in the first go, then you become a chartered accountant, right? So, again, point to note, you're doing some graduation like a BCom or a BCom specialized in any flavor that you'd like. And parallel to that, alongside you're preparing for CA exams. And once you qualify as a chartered accountant, this is one of those degrees which will teach you probably everything in the world of commerce that you can think about. You will learn accounting at the highest level, you will learn taxes at the highest level, you will learn a lot about how finance is done, you will learn a lot of how costs are managed in an organization, how money is managed in an organization. You will learn a lot about investments, how money makes money, how wealth is created, how wealth is invested to create more wealth. Okay, you will learn about strategy and leadership. You will learn a host of things in commerce. Everything that you can imagine a commerce subject to be is a part of this qualification. And once you come out, you can play various roles. You can be you can work in the accounting department at a very top level. You could become an auditor. An auditor means somebody who checks the books of accounts of another company. You could be a part of the finance team of an organization. You can be a part of the tax team of an organization. You can be a part of the legal team of an organization. You could be a part of the team which does investment banking. So these interesting valuations I spoke about, companies being sold for so many $1 billion. How are these values arrived at? Chartered accountants play a very, very big role in arriving at these values, in calculating these values, in structuring these deals. So you could play a host of these roles once you qualify as a chartered accountant. Okay. Another one is company secretary. Company secretary is basically again done after 12th standard. It's done after 12th. This Course takes about 3 to 3.5 years. It consists of three levels, which is CS Foundation, CS Executive, and CS Professional. Those are the three levels of doing CS. And the associated body is the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Now, what does a company secretary do? Let me explain that to you. ये जितने भी कंपनीज इनकॉर्पोरेट होते हैं, जितने भी कंपनीज आप देखते हो, देर इज अ लॉट ऑफ लीगल कंप्लायंस एसोसिएटेड विद दीज कंपनीज. ये कंपनीज चलाने के लिए बहुत सारे रूल्स, बहुत सारे रेगुलेशंस, बहुत सारे लीगल अफेयर्स होते हैं, बहुत सारे formalities होते हैं, बहुत. Okay, so a CS is somebody who understands these laws, who understands these rules and regulations associated with companies. Okay, so this course involves a lot of legal understanding. The subjects are very focused on company law, company understanding, a lot of regulation. So if you're somebody who's very interested in theory, if you're somebody who loves reading laws, interpreting laws, then this could be the right course for you. Okay, so that's what a company secretary does. Another one, that students sometimes pursue is CMA, Cost and Management Accounting, right? Now, this is again done after 12th standard. It takes about 3.5 years to finish your CMA. There are three levels here as well. There is CMA Foundation, there is CMA Inter, and there is CMA Final. And this is done from a body called the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Right now, again, you need to appear for the papers in the three levels, plus you need to do 15 months of practical training. And once you qualify as a CMA, again, there are a host of jobs available for you. Now, what do you study in CMA? In CMA, typically, you will study how costs are managed within an organization. A cost accountant is somebody who has great knowledge of how to manage costs in an organization. Okay, to give you another example, I always say that your mother is the CMA of your house. She knows how to manage the costs of the organization. She knows how to manage the inventory in her kitchen. She knows what it takes, what kind of money it takes to run the house. Now, suddenly, if there are guests some months, everything, all costs rise. She knows how to take charge of it. She manages the various things that are needed to run a house. She replenishes stock and inventory from time to time. From time to time, she's filling the kitchen, she's filling the various things in the house. So she's, sort of controlling your house, managing your house, controlling the costs, taking charge of things, and that's what a CMA does, but for a business at large. Okay, so CMA does that for a business at large. So once you qualify as a CMA, you can again grab various roles like of a cost accountant, somebody, a business analyst, a cost controller, somebody who's taking control over costs, of a financial analyst, of a business manager. Those are the various roles that a CMA can play. Okay. Another very interesting profession in vogue these days is ACCA, very popular with students. Now, ACCA is nothing but CA, but it's the CA of the UK. Just the way you have CA in India from the ICAI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, you also have the CA of the UK, which is called as ACCA, Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. And ACCA basically has got three levels. It's knowledge level, skills level, and professional level. There are 13 papers to do, and you can do it typically. Actually, you can do it after 10 standard, but a lot of students prefer to start it with their 12th or after their 12th standard as well. And this course typically gets over in a span of about 3 years. So, alongside your graduation, you can finish it. You will learn everything about CA, but from a global perspective. Okay, so you'll study a lot of business and finance subjects. You'll study accounting, business, finance, management, taxation, strategy, leadership. So you'll study everything that you study in CA, but you will study it from a global context, from a global perspective. And this is becoming very popular, not just across the world, but including India, because there are a lot of employers in India that are hiring ACCAs today, cost to the global skills they have, right? So, a very interesting course again to pursue, where you study a host of business and finance subjects from a global perspective. Then you have CFA, a very interesting course again called Chartered Financial Analyst. Now, this is typically from the US. It's from a body called the CFA Institute in the US, and this is done when you can start this course when you're in your third year of graduation. Okay, so either when you're in your TY third year of graduation, or you've finished your graduation, that's when you can begin CFA. So this cannot be done post class 12. It's only done when you're on your TY or post your TY. It takes 2.5 to 3 years to finish this course. It has three levels, level one, two, and three, as it's popularly called. And what does a CFA do? So you study everything to do with financial analysis. So you will study, business economics. You will study how equity markets in across the globe work, how bond markets work, how real estate markets work, how financial analysts plan finances, how do they grow wealth. Okay, so you learn everything to do with financial analysis, right? And once you qualify as a CFA, you have again a host of careers. So you could become a research analyst, you could become a wealth manager, you could become an investment consultant, you could work extensively in the stock markets at a global level. So those are the roles that you can again bag. Let me again tell you that all these degrees, whether it's whether it's CA, CS, or CMA, they are anyways Indian degrees and they can be done in India. ACCA, which is a degree of the UK, and CFA, which is a degree of the US, are also extensively pursued in India. In fact, you can prepare for them in Bombay and even write exams in Bombay. You don't need to go outside anywhere. Okay? And another popular option that students have, and this has been a very common one with a lot of students, is MBA. Now, MBA is done only after graduation. Okay, you have to appear for an entrance exam. One of the most popular entrance exams in India is CAT. Then there are other entrance exams like CET, NPAT, which is by the NMIMS. So you need to extensively prepare for these entrance exams because they will test very high level of maths, logical reasoning, statistics, English language, vocabulary, comprehension. So they are not testing knowledge, they will test a lot of skills. And basis your score, you will get a B school of your of the choice. Some of the finest B schools in India include IIM, which is Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Kozhikode. A lot of other IIMs as well, but these are the popular ones. There's Jamnamlal Bajaj, there's SP Jain, so there are a lot of B schools, but these are some of the very, very popular ones. And depending on your CAT score or your CET score, depending on what that B school takes, higher the score, you will get the B school of your choice. Of course, apart from the entrance exams, there are group discussions, there are personal interviews, and once you go into a B school after your TY is done, it's a 2 year full-time program. You have to fly to that B school. Just the way I mentioned, when you do law, you have to go to a law school. Similarly, when you do MBA, you have to go to a B school, spend 2 years there, where they will teach you everything about business and management, and then you can specialize in various fields like accounting, finance, marketing, human resource management, operations management. So you have, the first year of your MBA generally has got general subjects. The second year has got specialization. And once you get your MBA degree, of course, there are a host of business management jobs that are available to you, right? But the fun in doing an MBA is only to do it from the very cream premier B schools, in India, right? IIMs, ISB, Jamnalal Bajaj, XLRI, SP Jain. These are some of the premium B schools in India, all right? So these are some of the qualification students that are in vogue. One more, the last one I'd like to speak about is actuary. Now, this is also something a lot of students and parents come and ask, and that's why I've included it in the slides. Actuary is typically somebody who understands insurance as a sector extensively. So whenever you buy insurance, every insurance policy that you see is a product that has been arrived at after a lot of science. There's so much of math, so much of statistics, so much of science that goes into building an insurance policy. So somebody who has got terrific amount of skills with respect to that is an actuary, right? Now there are two routes of doing, an actual degree. One is Indian and one is UK. So the Indian actuary program is typically after your 12th standard, and you have to give an entrance exam which is called ACET. That's actual common entrance test. And once you go through that, then it's a 5 year program. It consists of 4 levels with 15 papers, and it's done from a body called the Institute of Actuaries of India. Okay, it's a very complex course because you need very high level of understanding, liking, aptitude for maths and stats. So only if you're somebody up there with maths and stats, should you look at this course, else not, right? And there's another route which is UK Actuary, which actually is a very popular one. Most of our students take this up if they go for Actuary. This can be taken after 10 standard. There's no entrance exam. It's minimum again 5 years, four levels comprising of 15 papers. It's done from a body called the Institute of Actuaries, and this is the UK one is of course recognized in 110 countries globally. So of course, if you do the UK actuary program, it's got far more recognition compared to the Indian actuary program, right? So just to summarize, students, all the degrees I spoke about: CA, extensive knowledge of finance, accounting, taxes, business from an Indian context. ACCA, great knowledge of finance and business from a global context. CS, knowledge of laws, business laws and corporate law. Actuary, great understanding of insurance, maths and stats. CMA, knowledge of costing, managing costs of an organization. So cost and management accounting. LLB, completely focused, of course, on law. MBA is, of course, business administration, management, right? And what's also very important to note, and CFA, lastly, of course, extensive focus on financial management and capital markets. But what's very important to note is what can be done after class 12 and what can be done after graduation. So CA is done preparation with 12th, but you appear for the first exam after the class 12 board exam. ACCA also can be done with your 12th standard. CS is you start the preparation post 12. Actually, that depends. If you do the UK one post 10th, if you do the Indian one post 12th. CMA is of course post 12th, law is post 12th, MBA is post graduation, CFA either in the last year of your graduation or post graduation, but I've known most students started post graduation. Okay, so with 12th, actually, there are only two very interesting degrees you can begin, either a CA or a ACCA. The others are either post 12 or post graduation. Okay. Now, of course, what I've done today is just giving you a very small idea and gist of these degrees. As we progress ahead, once students start studying with us, we take up some of the popular degrees that students opt for. We do detailed seminars on CA, ACCA, CFA, and other degrees that students may want to pursue. And then we go into more details of the subjects and the jobs and the coaching and the investments that it takes. But that's at stage two. This is to give you a great bird's eye view of what these degrees look like. Okay, so students, your journey is you're in 10th standard, like I said, you finished your exams, you will have 11th and 12th to pursue, and then you have a graduation to do, and parallel to that, always worthwhile taking some professional qualification, and clearing college with not one but two degrees. In fact, let me tell you that these days, most commerce students don't even stop at one degree. Most of them want to do a second degree and super specialize. Very similar to the way doctors study. You do an MBBS, and the MBBS gives you a great understanding of the human body. And then they super specialize, in something of their choice. So somebody becomes a cardiologist, understanding of the heart. Somebody becomes, a gynecologist, So depending on your, interest area, you super specialize. Similarly, in commerce, once you've done your graduation and some qualification like a CA, or let's say, a CMA or any qualification, most students then opt for a second global qualification, So students study ACCA, students study sometimes law, some students take up courses in economics, students take up courses in data analytics. So there are so many interesting options. Some students appear for, CAT and go to a B school in India. Sometimes they offer B schools outside India. So most students, want to do one solid professional qualification along their graduation, opt for another degree then to super specialize with their jobs. So that's really what the new world will require you to have, right? So that's about it for today. What I'm going to do in my next video is, today I spoke about graduation and professional careers, and my next video, I'm going to talk about how to get started with your 11th standard. So, what is your 11th standard journey going to look like? What's your 12th standard journey going to look like? What subjects are you going to study? What kind of help will you require? How to choose the right college? I'm going to talk about all that in the next one. right? Thank you, students. Good luck, and I hope you make an informed decision. Thanks.